Hey guys, it's me from the Pancake Spy, coming at you with Darth Traya versus Darth Malak. The Battle of the KOTOR Villains. I'm really excited to bring you this matchup. I've worked on it for a while, and really hope you enjoy, because I love both of these characters, and I've always wanted to put both in the Versus series, so now I have them both in the Versus series. So without further ado, Darth Traya versus Darth Malak. First, we will compare their physical attributes and physical capabilities. Let's begin. Darth Traya was a human female who I would say is probably in her early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Because of this, she's extremely old, if you haven't figured that out. She's also blind. However, she uses the Force to see rather than her own physical sight. Despite being so elderly, Traya was very physically put and could fight with great agility and strength on the battlefield, contending with Meetra Surik, Darth Sion, and Darth Nihilus in combat. And her acrobatics were allowed her to keep pace with younger opponents. She did have a good amount of stamina, but like much older Jedi, she could run out. And while she could take a ton of injury, she could take a good deal of injury, again, she could tire out from them. And if she took just too much, she could collapse. Darth Malak was also a human male, but around, 40 years of age, I would say. Malak was a physical masterpiece and dedicated himself to his physical attributes in lightsaber combat. Malak's strength was able to break through the defenses of Bastila Shan and somewhat through Revans. His speed and agility was phenomenal, despite being over 2 meters tall. He could jump and almost dance around the battlefield with his aggressive acrobatics. His endurance was nearly unstoppable, as it took the combined efforts of Revan and Bastila Shan to stop him, and he couldn't even tire out then. And like Traya, while he can take a boatload of pain, he still has his limits, like everyone. I find this one very close to call. Malak is younger, and he has better showings in physical strength, speed and agility, and endurance. While Traya is beyond helpless in this matchup, when pitted against an opponent as imposing as Darth Malak, Traya is going to be crushed. Malak's strength just demolishes hers, and while both have speed and agility, Malak is more aggressive with it and uses it more frequently. Both have high endurance, but Malak can go for longer periods of time, almost infinite periods of time. While both are durable, Malak is younger, and he's dedicated himself to his physical strength and durability, where Traya has solely dedicated herself to her Force abilities. Darth Malak gets the physical edge. Now we compare them as martial artists and lightsaber duelists. Despite being solely dedicated to her abilities in the Force, Darth Traya still turned out to be a very capable and very good lightsaber duelist, able to keep up with Darth Nihilus, Darth Sion, and Meetra Surik in lightsaber combat. Traya also had a ton of unconventional lightsaber techniques that she employed. Her main focus was simple and effective. She also had a knowledge of all 7 forms. However, she mainly focused in Form 1 Shicho, basically the tutorial style of the Jedi Order, and wide sweeping motions, letting the Force flow through you. Makashi, which was a pure dueling form, using elegance, grace, and precision, but lacks in physical might and strength, more focused on footwork, as well as her preferred form, Surisu. Surisu was an all-defensive form used to block literally any attack in the world and just block them. Just block it away, harmlessly away. Traya was also very capable in Trikata, a lightsaber technique where she would deactivate her blade and reactivate it after cutting through her opponent's guard. This was an extremely unpredictable lightsaber technique and extremely effective in combat. Traya also wielded a double-bladed lightsaber as a Jedi, stating that she might have some knowledge of Form 6 Nyman. Though she clearly has a knowledge of all 7 forms of lightsaber combat, as she was able to teach them to Mitra Surik in Knights of the Old Republic 2. Though she decided to have Mitra train with Visas Mar in lightsaber combat or spar with her rather than Kreia, which could indicate that she's not as good of a duelist as she once was. Darth Malak was a very skilled lightsaber duelist. Drew Carpenter, the lead writer for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, even credited as Revan as being the better lightsaber duelist to Revan. But this makes sense, seeing as Malak dedicated himself to lightsaber combat, Revan did not. He was considered the bronze to Revan's brain, and was an absolute master in lightsaber combat. Or he was a very dangerous and deadly foe. Malak personally specialized in Form 7 Juyo. Juyo was the most aggressive and deadly form. You fueled yourself with your opponent's rage and embraced it, making yourself more powerful. Your strikes were fast, strong, and unpredictable. The most dangerous and complex lightsaber form. Malak also studied Form 2 Makashi. Although it wasn't confirmed, if you watch him fight in Knights of the Old Republic, he shows great footwork and precision in his lightsaber combat. That is showing that he clearly has a knowledge of the form. Heck, he even starts out with a Makashi salute before he jumps into battle, which he demonstrated against Revan in both of their duels. As dangerous of a duelist as Malak is, he has a major weakness: no defense. When Malak fights, he jumps at you with all his acrobatics, precision, and just crazy fighting style. But when he's put on the defense, he becomes helpless. Both Juyo and Makashi are dedicated to offense. Malak doesn't have defense. That is a major disadvantage for him. Both of these duelists are highly skilled. Despite Traya being a dedicated force wielder and Malak a dedicated swordsman, they are actually more on par than you realize. Malak's lack of defense could actually get in his way due to Traya's use of Trikata as well as Makashi and Shicho. Traya doesn't have this issue as she uses Surisu. Even more so, she can use her telekinetic lightsabers and throw Malak off. Malak would have to go on the defense. He can't exactly do that if I haven't made myself clear. While Malak is definitely the more dedicated swordsman, he dedicated himself to pure offense, and that is not the way to go against Traya, whose fighting style is basically 100% balanced, yet 100% unpredictable. She uses such a basic skill set, but with a background knowledge of all these randomized and crazy lightsaber techniques that are going to push Malak back. But if these don't work, Malak can press the offense. But Traya's master Surisu allows her to defend herself. In all, I really just don't see a verdict where either Malak or Traya win in lightsaber combat. As such, I declare Darth Traya and Darth Malak equals as martial artists and lightsaber duelists. Now we compare them as force wielders. Darth Traya was an absolute master of the Force, being as she studied the Force her entire life. Traya had many unconventional and deadly powers. For basic powers, she had the abilities of Jedi Mind Trick, Beast Manipulation, Telekinesis, or Force Pushes and Waves, Mind Probe, Farsight, and that's about it. But she was very powerful in her unique abilities. Traya was skilled in Force Scream, enhancing her voice, Force Whirlwind, Dark Rage, Dark Healing, Force Drain, and was even able to telekinetically wield 3 lightsabers while fighting. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen another Force wielder do that so far. Disney, you better keep up. Traya was also a practiced hand in Force Lightning, and if I'm correct, she was also very capable in Force Sever, though I don't think this was an ability she was very capable in. She mastered Mind Probe to the point where she could rip through the minds of fully trained Jedi. Basically a more advanced version of Kylo Ren does. Darth Malak, despite being a dedicated swordsman, was still very capable with the Force. He was skilled at Force Pushes and Waves and Telekinesis, Force Lightning, Force Stun, Force Whirlwind, Tutaminis, Force Drain, and he had capabilities in Sith Sorcery. However, he was nowhere dedicated to it, and we really don't know his absolute levels. Malak used his Force abilities similarly to someone like Darth Malgus. He used them to only assist him in his victory. He focused killing his opponents with his lightsaber and used the Force to assist him. However, unlike someone like Malgus, Malak actually had some dedication to studying the Force. He was almost a Sith scientist, if you actually look at it. After he fell to the dark side, he began practicing in Sith sorcery and lightning and stun and whirlwind. So, while he's definitely somewhat dedicated and pretty decently powerful, again, he really, in the end, is a pure lightsaber duelist. And, yeah, that's about all I have to say. While Malak is somewhat dedicated to his Force abilities and is very powerful, he's a dedicated martial artist. And his abilities don't come near Traya's abilities. While Malak has similar abilities to Traya, Traya has more variety, more potent power, and more unpredictability. Telekinetically wielding 3 lightsabers, constantly using Farsight, a mastery of Mind Probe. Both are very skilled in Force Stun. Traya has Dark Rage on her side and Dark Healing, and she's stronger in Force Drain than Darth Malak. Both are probably equals in Lightning and Telekinesis, but Traya just has more. Malak's Sith Sorcery isn't going to come in here, as he's never demonstrated abilities in Sith Sorcery in active combat. Rather, he uses it as a study rather than a combative application. Everything Malak is going to throw at Traya, Traya can throw back, and more. As such, I give the somewhat comfortable edge to Darth Traya for her Force abilities. And now the verdict. This battle would be a long and hard-fought battle. Many lightsaber clashes and just as many Force powers. Both are extremely capable against the other, and both have the necessary skill sets to compete and possibly defeat the other. However, there can only be one winner, and that's what we're going to decide. Traya has a full balanced skill set with a mastery in Force powers. By contrast, Malak is just a one-trick offense pony, no holding back on defense. And when he's pushed to offense, or when he's pushed to defense, he's got nothing. This fight would look very similar to Yoda's duel with Palpatine on Coruscant in Revenge of the Sith. So, it would look similar to that duel. With Traya standing in for Darth Sidious in this duel, and Darth Malak standing in for Yoda as the aggressor of this matchup. Darth Malak would instantly rush Traya with his lightsaber combat. Traya would move to Sarisu to defend herself. Malak's attacks would come quick and strong. Traya would nearly be disarmed of her lightsaber and knocked to the ground. Malak shoots out a bolt of lightning, but Traya absorbs it with 2 to menace. She gets up and lets out a force push, pushing Malak back. As Malak goes for another charge, Traya whips out her telekinetic 3 lightsabers and begins attacking Malak with them. Malak is instantly put on defense and has no idea what to do. He blocks the strikes, but he is nowhere near dedicated enough in defensive lightsaber combat to defend himself enough. Traya just telekinetically does it, and Malak's lightsaber is knocked out of his hands as he falls to the ground. Traya begins to blast Malak with lightning, but Malak gets up, and he blasts lightning back. The energy ball between them gets too thick, and it blasts again. Malak goes for his lightsaber again, but Traya force pushes it away. Malak goes for another attack and forced lightning, but Traya throws out her telekinetic lightsabers to block the attack. Again, this battle of the Force goes on for a while, and eventually, Traya gains enough energy. Malak finally blasts her with forced lightning, and regains his lightsaber ready for the strike. But Traya throws Malak back telekinetically and proceeds to use Force Drain, ripping right through Malak's defenses and draining him alive. And thus, I give the 7-10 victory advantage to Darth Traya, declaring her the victor. Well, guys, that's all I got for you this time. So, if you want more Versus videos, like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see. Tell your friends, because I don't have a lot of subscribers and I want some. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, and may the Force be with you always. Peace.